Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new NVIDIA daily update video. So today, as per usual, let's talk about NVIDIA stock. Let's talk about, my thoughts moving forward on the stock, what I personally can expect or I think will happen rather next in the stock. And yeah, as per usual, if you enjoy, don't forget to hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. I'd appreciate that quite a bit. This is not financial advice, and I am not a financial advisor. And of course, if you do enjoy my technical analysis, I do have a membership section on YouTube down below for just $3 a month, where I share my technical analysis and thoughts on the charts essentially daily as the market is trading, mainly on Tesla stock for the $3 a month one. But sometimes I'll share other stocks as well that I'm eyeballing. Or for $5 a month, you get access to all of that, plus NVIDIA daily updates as well. But yeah, jumping into it, let's talk about NVIDIA closing at $145 per share, pretty much flat on the day, not doing a whole lot. Had a nice little push up today, right? Had a nice little push up in the morning, but unfortunately wasn't enough to sustain. And we ended up actually closing with a doji candle pretty much right at my Fibonacci retracement level of that 618 retracement level. So yeah, pretty interesting spot to close at right now. Again, if there's a spot to reject, like I said, this is the main spot in my opinion. Now, again, it doesn't have to be the spot. Nobody knows that this is literally the spot, right? But this is a major spot. Now, again, we could still go higher. We could still see the next level at 148 to 149. For instance, the 1 hour is, arguably making a little bit of a bull flag here, right? You can easily make an argument that this is a, little bit of a bull flag situation setting up here. Let's see how that plays out tomorrow. This could be that last little push up to that potential final true area that I have listed as, these green Fibonacci's up here at 148 to 149. Absolutely a possibility. And, I would actually even slightly favor that. Why might that be though? Why would I slightly favor that kind of right now, right? Well, the simple reason is because this price action actually had the 8 or rather the 9 EMA and the 21 EMA crossed back to being bullish. That's a good sign. That is a good sign. Worst case right now, short term, I can see is NVIDIA actually does drop back down to the 9 EMA or the 21 EMA, which are pretty much in the same spot at around 141 and change. That is kind of like the short term worst case. But this is where things get interesting, right? Because so one of two things will happen. Obviously, it'll either go up or it'll either go down. But the way to kind of get better confirmation and an idea of that is, as long as NVIDIA essentially maintains above the 21 and especially the 8 EMA, or rather the 9 EMA, I just switched it to the 9. I used to use the 8. I think 9 is a little bit less false signaling. Nonetheless, as long as it remains above both and especially the 9, which is that green line you can see there, I would argue that the short-term momentum is still bullish. And there's no reason to actually truly be bearish on NVIDIA. Now, obviously, when I'm looking at the Fibonacci's, it's a bit more of a zoomed out overall picture of trend, right? Which is why I'm still overall skeptical, despite, the short-term momentum potentially still being bullish on the daily chart with these EMAs, right? With this crossover, still looks pretty good. So if we come back down, this support area should be a pretty nice support area. And there is still a chance that we make one more leg higher to this 148 to 149, essentially as long as we maintain these bad boys, right? But I guess the risk is the fact that, this Fibonacci suggests that if there's an area to potentially reverse, it is this area. So if we do reverse and we lose those two EMAs, the 8, rather the 9 and the 21, if we go below those and we start closing a daily below those bad boys, especially both of them, that's when things will start getting definitely more eyebrow raising. And at the very least, at the bare minimum, I think we come down to about the mid 130s where that 50 EMA is, if not even lower for that potential double bottom trendline support, double bottom situation sitting at the low 130s, right? So it just really comes down to, just how does it want to play around these kind of situations, right? How does it want to, how does it react to these moving indicators that, suggest short-term bullishness? Does it, work off of them and continue this momentum, which it has slightly regained, I will admit, right? Or does it just simply follow trend and does the overall downward pressure, end up being too strong and we truly follow the trend, we truly get the Fibonacci rejection, we lose these EMAs, and that pretty much makes it, in my opinion, much more powerful confirmation that the move down is most likely going to continue, unfortunately. So that's kind of the combination that I think is a pretty powerful combination to use right now to get a better idea. Because again, yes, we are at a place that can reject. Yes, we are at that level. I did call even from back here, right? Absolutely. However, there's no actual confirmation that we're going to reject. Guaranteed, right? There's no confirmation about that whatsoever. This is, a doji candle, but that's not technically a reversal candle in my opinion, right? This just shows indecision, right? And in fact, this easily can act as a continuation. So doji candles, a lot of people use them as reversals. They're not necessarily reversals. They're more indecisions. So yeah, it really just comes down to that, right? It really comes down to how do we react to these short-term moving averages or EMAs, I guess you can say, exponential moving averages. And do we, continue acting then, letting them act as a support? Kind of like what we did yesterday when we had that nice little sell-off at open, right? And then what do we do? Well, we went back above them and we actually turned them into resistance, or support rather. So for instance, let me go remove this market bias here, right? Sometimes it could be this simple, right? This is me being a bottom catcher, right? Using my other indicator, the bands, of course, that you guys, oops, not that one, sorry, this one, right? The bands are down here, which, you guys know I love that. Or, if you're not a bottom catcher and you prefer, buying on strength, you can see as we did find that bottom and we rallied back up, we had some areas of resistance here, right? We had 2 days of resistance. You can see right here, pretty much right at those indicators, right? The first one, of course, double resistance. The second one, you can see starting to show some signs of bullishness, right? Because it was still getting rejected by that 21 EMA, but it now closed above the 9 EMA. Okay, right? We're starting to get a little bit of momentum here. And then we essentially gapped up, came back down into it as a support now. And then we continue to follow through for the rest of the day. And today, obviously, pretty much flat, right? Nothing really to write home about today. But that's kind of the ideal with these kind of indicators that you want to be looking for, right? So again, it really just comes down to, is this an area to reject? Potentially. Absolutely. Can we potentially go higher? Absolutely. What's a way to confirm whether or not we reject and truly make our way back down into the 130s, or potentially, find a nice little support here and make our way higher? Those EMAs, man, watch for those EMAs, watch for those bad boys, especially in my opinion, the 8, that's going to catch up to NVIDIA very, very quickly. It'll, act as a support much more fast and quickly. So in my opinion, that's probably the 9 EMA rather is probably the one you really want to watch for to really see if there's actual bullishness to continue higher to, potentially 148 to 149 or not. But yeah, that's kind of the main thing I have for NVIDIA right now. Obviously, moving forward overall. So, I'd be watching for that in my opinion. In terms of options flow, let's take a very quick look at NVIDIA, see how the options flow looked like for the day. As per usual, the bulls dominating the bears, but not as convincingly. You can see, still obviously much more than, the bears, right? But not as one-sided as it usually is, to say the least. Right? As I kind of scroll down, you can see some decent, what is this? 1206. I didn't even notice this actually. 1206. This came in at 1021 when NVIDIA was at 144, which is pretty much where it's at right now. A lot of puts came in for tomorrow's, shockingly enough. So, I mean, clearly someone is expecting a massive gap down in the market tomorrow. At least that's what it seems like off these options flow. Let's see if we actually get that or not. Another one came in today here as well. You can see. So clearly somebody is expecting I guess a big gap down in the market tomorrow, or at the very least NVIDIA. Let's see if they're right or not, because that's literally expiring tomorrow. So, we'll see. But nonetheless, even if we do get a gap down, watch for these bad boys right here to act as a support, and whether or not they can, sustain and keep that bullish momentum alive to still potentially make one more leg higher before, either we really reject from here and then these bad boys can play catch up and then we finally fall below those EMAs, maybe up here instead of down here, and then we finally make our way down, or it happens somewhere around this vicinity here as they play catch up, we start losing them, and then the weakness starts setting in. Anyways, that's all I got for you. Let me know what you think down below. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.